Williams Funeral Service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-382.
I'm a survivor. I will survive. I will survive. And I'm a firm believer.
Right along, welcome to the ride. Welcome to the ride. Thursday on the ride. Yeah, we're going strong. Yeah. How you guys doing? As you're coming, guys, go ahead and share up the thing and say I share. Share the program, put it on a page and say I share. And then I'll big you up. Jane Chateau, how you doing, my dear? I gotta say hi to Lydia, because Lydia have a way of getting upset with me and thing. Gotta big up. Lydia James, how you doing? Welcome to the ride. Big up yourself, Kevin Morass. Hey, Kevin Morass, how you doing, my friend? Big up yourself. Everybody share. Everybody share. Guys, today is a part 2 on a continuing discussion. And today we have 2 doctors. A clinical psychologist, Dr. Augustine Panchoo. He is no stranger to Ride Along. He is back here with us. And Dr. Michelle Alexander, she is going to be chatting with us on and general sense about reaction to the video and also about abuse. So it's a big conversation, guys. It's a big conversation, and we're going to get really deep into it. Also, within the past 24 hours, we some new videos were released, and we're going to play back some of it for you guys just to assess the situation a little bit better. We also got our hands on some other evidence. Now, we also must state right at the top, at the beginning, this is an active police investigation at the moment. So there might be information that Dr. Panchoo may not be able to reveal because this is an ongoing police investigation. Nevertheless, we're going to analyze this, and also we'll take your calls, as we always do, on the phone lines. I must also state that we fixed our audio problem that we had from yesterday. So congratulations to us. No more audio problem. We are set. We're good. In fact, if we have audio problem today, we're going to blame it on Lacey J. I mean, not like she did it, but we just had to find somebody to blame, and she's going to be the person to blame today. Lacey J is going to be blamed in case we have any audio problem. Before we go on and introduce our panelists, let me just put the number up very early because we want you guys to be engaged in this conversation as well. Yes? All right, let us get with it, ladies and gentlemen. As we say ladies first, let us introduce. She is no stranger to the ride along. She is a domestic violence activist and a doctor recently. Dr. Michelle Alexander. Dr. Michelle, how are you today?
I'm fine. One correction.
What? Sorry.
Sexual abuse and domestic violence.
Ah, sorry. I often get these things wrong, but you corrected me. I appreciate that. And of course, he is no stranger to the ride. He is always on the program to give us this type of analytics. He is a doctor, clinical psychologist. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Augustine Panchoo. Dr. Panchoo, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing great, Junior. Junior, I think I'm hearing a double voice. Hang on.
You're hearing a double echo. Let me make sure that my audience is not hearing an echo as well. Okay. Let us see. I don't think. Oh, they're getting enough feedback. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So let's.
But when Michelle was talking, and now I'm talking, I'm hearing it.
Are you hearing it still?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not sure why. But as I said, we fixed all our audio problems, so there is no. Oh, I know why.
You do. Okay.
I know why. Yes.
All
All right.
right. There we go. There we
It's
go.
fixed. It's fixed, right?
All right. Yeah.
There we go. Yes.
So it's always good to be on the program, Junior. I really do appreciate being part of the audience and the program itself. It's just that this evening's program it's a sad one because it involves abuse, alleged abuse. It involves death. It involves suicide ideation. So it's a really emotionally charged program. So I would rather not have to do something like that. But yeah, I'm here. We'll
Yeah.
do it.
And we appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Uh, Dr. Michelle, let us start with just your introduction and your not your introduction, but your quick reaction after looking at this video that was released yesterday. We're going to take a quick look at it. But what was your immediate reaction after you saw it?
Um, I didn't see the video until today, and my reaction was I was sad. Sad in the sense that whilst reading the comment, I could have seen people were bashing her. But the first thing I did was kind of went through the comments. But then after listening her speak, I immediately thought of maybe it was a situation of mental health, and also when she referred to the fact that she herself was sexually abused. It was just my reaction was just really really sad.
Right, right, right. And for those of you who are mute or don't know the story that we're talking about a story of a video that was released yesterday where a young lady claimed that she was being she was being abused in a relationship. She also saw alleged that her then boyfriend, she saw him sexually abusing her young 3-year-old daughter at the time. That happened over a period of time, and at some point she said she had an idea, and the idea was to do this. Let's take a quicker look at it because I know some of you guys didn't get to see it. So let's take a look at it right now, and then so we could start talking to Dr. Pancho, and Dr. Pancho could analyze the video. This is the portion of the video that I want to play back for you guys to consume and for you guys to check out. Check this out. 1 second. There we go. Where is this the video? Yes. All right. This is it.
So I don't know. I said a one and I just think of an idea. I think of an idea. Now it's really hurting me. So I don't know if it's okay, but I know I give him poison. I give him weedless poison. I don't know if it's I kill him, but I know to myself is I do it. And it just hurted me. This is the first time I did something like this. I couldn't take it anymore, so I had to, I don't know.
All right, Dr. Pancho, let's come to you, sir. Talk to us. Analyze this whole situation here for us. Help us understand.
Well, Junior, what I heard there is seemingly a confession from someone who thinks that she has done harm to an individual. Now, as we said, that this is an active police investigation, so whether or not her actions resulted or added to the death of Cliffy, the young man, it's a question. It's not a question for us to answer tonight. So let's talk and let's look at this young lady. This young lady is distraught. She's sobbing. It's interesting that there is music. There is a kind of a religious, gospel-y kind of music, meaningful music that is played along. We don't know whether or not she was the one who recorded it and or orchestrated this seemingly confession. But what I did see in her, hear in her voice is anguish, um, that she has done something horrible and terrible, but she also intimated that it was out of a sense of desperation, a sense of I had no other choice but to defend the honor and the dignity of my child, my 5 year old. But she talks about the child at from 3 years old, but there is reliable information that says that the child is now about 5 years old, Junior. So,
Yes.
it probably started when she was three, and culminated at this time. So this woman is confessing to a gruesome crime. Anyway, taking the life of another person. Um, it's interesting though, and maybe we don't even need to answer. That's the last point I want to make in this introduction. That I that we don't know who posted this video. So if there was anybody else or any other people involved with the making and the distribution or the leaking of this video.
Right. Well, the video. I think the person that was I mean the video was shared from Anna. I think Anna Augustine. I think she's on the view on the page as well. But a lot of these content is sort of out there a bit because I have access. I think other medium have access to a lot of the database video from what transpired, pictures, and all this stuff that we're not going to reveal here because, as you said, it's an active investigation. But
Yes.
Anna, I think, is the one who actually posted the video, and it was not the individual. So it's not like the person. It's not like she did this video and did a live and let the world know that she did this. She
Yeah.
recorded it and she kept it in her phone, which possibly could have make you analyze that possibly she didn't really want to get this information out in a timing or in this
Right.
particular time. Why
Yeah.
you assess from that, Dr. Pancho? For she just kept this content to
Yes.
as close as possible.
You know what? Generally, Junior, so we probably need to go into the mind and try to have a peek into the mind of a criminal. There is a lot of guilt and remorse that goes into something like taking the life of somebody. And very often, um, when cornered, when interrogated, people who commit murders or take the, gruesome crimes, they generally, Junior, they confess because for them it's like getting something heavy from their chest. So what I think happened here in this case is that this woman made the video. Granted that she was not the one that made it, sent it out in the public or aired it, but she made it as a form of dealing with the guilt that is associated with with the alleged crime. No, when I speak tonight, Junior, I want the listeners to understand, and for all of us to understand that we cannot claim that we know that any poison that he died from any poison. So it could be that it enhanced a medical condition, and or it could be totally coincidental that he died when she thought or she thinks that she gave him poison. So we have to be very careful that we do not come to the conclusion that Clifford died from being poisoned. Later on, I'm hoping that the body will be exhumed and an autopsy and forensics will be done to ascertain the real cause of his death. But the making of the video is tantamount to say, I am really sorry. And if things were to go really bad later on, I want people to know that I am sorry, and that's why she made the video. Yeah.
Well, Michelle, let's come to you, right? After you saw the video, she made allegations of sexual molestation by her daughter. When you're looking at it from that perspective, what stood out to you, if any? And not, we're not able to hear you, Michelle.
Oh, sorry, I was muted because
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
tried to get the light. So I
Yeah, no
think
problem.
Yeah, what stood out to me must have been her position to continuously witness something she couldn't do anything about. Knowing that the child was being abused, but she had to live with it merely because she didn't have the support that she thought she needed. She was in a foreign country. She didn't have family. She didn't have friends. And I'm not making excuses for her, but in situations like these, there are other factors that come into play. Um, I didn't totally agree with the fact that she would put a poisonous substance in, well,
Well, I'll say
so
allegedly.
well,
I'll,
allegedly. I
yeah.
didn't agree with that, but it also speaks to the fact that maybe she didn't have confidence in the justice system to get the kind of justice that she needed. And also, I thought maybe she was traumatized knowing that she went through something similar in the past and to see it reliving in front of us. So I kind of felt pity and sorry for what she had to endure and what it is she was going through.
Yeah. Dr. Pancho, this is a lot of people contacted me from yesterday, right? And they say, "Oh, this is the ongoing thing. The allegation that there are men in our society that are constantly molesting, and that's the allegation, constantly molesting children, and they get in bail and they're walking out of jail and the justice is not being met. That could kind of send someone in a state of mind where they don't trust, they don't believe that justice will prevail in their case.
Yeah. Absolutely, Junior. Junior, our victims slash survivors of sexual abuse. In fact, not just sexual abuse, but all forms of violence and other abuses that are perpetrated against people. Some people see the leniency with which the law treats, or the nonchalance that the police and the judicial system treat their complaints, um, and they conclude that there is probably no one to support them, to stand with them, to ensure that their rights are upheld. And it's really frustrating. Now you have to think, Junior, I want you to watch this with me. This is a 23-year-old woman. She is barely into her young adulthood stage. She 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 is in a place, and Michelle talked about that she may not know a whole lot of people. She is vulnerable, Junior. Very, very vulnerable to being known, um, vulnerable in the fact that to whom does she go, really? She may lack a lot of resources and resourcefulness. A 23-year-old does not have a lot of resiliency and coping skills, Junior. So they do what best comes to their mind. Now, you and I, who are more mature, we have other ways. We can make phone call. We can do placards. We can mobilize. We have voice. We have a little resource. We have respect in the community. She has none of those. So can you imagine how vulnerable this woman is? Not only that, the alleged perpetrator is 30 odd years older than she is, with influence in Grenada. This young man, this adult, has a lot of influence in the community from where he comes. Okay, so she probably knows all of that. So that puts her really in a position of vulnerability and susceptibility, and that's really a bad position for a person, who is partly foreigner coming here. So there is a lot of desperation. Her act tells us, Junior, it's an act of desperation. There is a degree of desperation in what she did. We're not justifying it. I will hasten to conclude that I am not justifying it by any means. But her act is one of desperation.
Yeah. Let's open up the phone lines right now, guys. If you want to call in 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Doc, I want to play back another clip, right? I want to play back this clip and tell me if that changes your idea as to the person. Now, this is a clip that also was in that database cluster of
Okay.
information that was released. Right. This is allegedly is the young lady. Take a listen. Take a look.
I'm going to drink. I'm coming with you, babes. I'm coming with you. Yes. I know. I'm gonna make soon. I'm gonna reach back to your grandmother. Definitely, I know they're gonna send you back. I can't bear it anymore. Me alone in this house. I can't bear it. Just killing me. I can't bear it anymore. So I think I should go with you. Yeah. I'm coming with you, babes. I'm coming with you. Yes. I eating and we drinking water. So I'm happy to eat. So I'm coming with you. I'm going to drink all this tablet. All this tablet we see here. I'm going to drink. Definitely, I sure, no for sure, I'm gonna get some my back up. Yep, I will. I'm coming with you, babes. I'm coming.
Right. So allegedly, Doc, this
Yes.
is a video that with the allegedly from the young lady's database phone WhatsApp
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that she had there. What
Mm-hmm.
does that tell you about her frame of mind, the person that we're dealing with?
Very, very good question, Junior. This video is a testimony of irrational thinking. Okay, watch this. The previous video yesterday, where she talked about having to resort to putting poison in a drink or in food. Okay, look at it. This next video talks about I am coming with you, baby. I am alone and I cannot live by myself. It shows a high degree of irrational and disorganized thinking. That's what it shows. Because where you would think that if a mother, in the honor and defense of a 5-year-old daughter, would resort to taking a life, would continue to want to protect her daughter, or be there, Junior, be there for the child. But here she is advocating for herself that I am coming with you. In other words, I am going to I am going to leave my child behind and I want to be with you. That's irrational thinking. That's not cognitive awareness and organized thought processes. So what we see there is one of not just irrational thinking also, Junior, but it's a way of defending herself, her ego. Because she is preparing. Remember, I said, Junior, that she is preparing. The videos is her preparatory work for when the law enforcement does come at her. So we see a degree of planning, which tells us, okay, she did put some thought into it. But we also see in the video evidence of total irrational thinking. Okay. But also, the third piece I want to add, Junior, is that could it be that she really loved him and felt a bond with him and felt helpless if he's not around? So now that she has done what she thinks has taken his life, she is now realizing, I am actually going to miss him. And it could be the life. Watch this, Junior. A, a victim slash survivor. Well, Michelle is at best at talking about that, so I will acquiesce to her anytime. But what I'm saying here is that the life of a survivor or a victim is one of such that they can develop such love and attachment to the perpetrators that even in the face of grave danger, they still display a likeness or an affinity for the perpetrator.
I see. Michelle, you wanted to add anything that you caught you wanted to chime in that video clip?
To me too, she was caught. in a situation with two people that she truly loved. Listening to the clip again, it's weighing on me because it's sad. Listening to the clip, she thought, as she claims, that he was the person maybe to get her out of whatever situation she was in. So here she had love for the child, and she had love for that individual. Now, after the act was committed, you could see that she is in some state of dissonance, because to be speaking now that, she's suicidal and she wants to join him, it's just it's I don't know, it's sad. And I think the issue here is what we need to do, and maybe what we're not speaking about, is ways maybe to go forward. And going forward, how would she get the help that she needs? How would the child get the help that the child really needs?
Yeah, yeah, and that's important. Doc, Pancho, I want you to also talk about the premeditative mind, right? Because based on certain information that we acquire, we seen allegedly that there was some sort of premeditation into the poisoning of this individual. Talk to us about that premeditative mind, if you could. Yeah, doctor, your pause for some reason. I'm not hearing you.
I did.
Right,
Junior, for if the abuse is going on for 2 years or 2.5 years, with some kind of a intuition or knowledge from the mother, she has been probably planning a way of escape, a way of protection. Remember, Junior, she is barely out of her teen years, and her child, is at the stage where you want to believe your 3-year-old, but 3-year-old can only articulate so much. There
right,
has to be a whole trust, a system, and a level of trust for your 3-year-old, because 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds are in a world what we call a fantasy world, and sometimes they see and hear things and they make up things. However, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of faith to believe your 3-year-old, that your 3-year-old is not making up stuff. And so at this time, I want to encourage parents who are listening to this program to find ways to believe your children. It's really important. But I want to believe, based upon the video, Junior, that this mother believed, and she did indicate that she saw evidence of. I don't know the nature, whether or not she reported or she attempted to report. But remember, Junior, she is partly a foreigner. She is young. She has little resources. Clifford Marshall is a grown adult with full access to a lot of resources. So we don't know if he was threatening her, if he was blackmailing her, if he was coercing her, or if he was putting any pressure on her not to tell. But what the video does show is that she had a plan. And so there is some level of premeditation to get the poison. You know, she had to secure it from somewhere. She had to kind of um, innovate in her mind how she's going to present it, so that he doesn't detect it, smell it, or taste it. So all of this had to be planned. And yeah, Junior, I think I've said a whole bunch
yeah,
here.
yeah. Okay, let's just jump to the phone line really quickly. We got a
Right.
call on the line. We jump back to Michelle, Doctor Alexander. Sorry, caller you live. Caller you live. Go right ahead.
Hi, good evening, Junior, and good evening to your guests.
Yes.
I just want
Where
to
you
say
calling us?
that
Where you calling us from?
I'm calling from St. John's.
St. John's. Go right ahead, St. John's, Grenada.
Yes, being when you move into a new environment, especially for this young lady moving from Guyana to moving to Grenada, which is a totally different country,
Right.
and having to be living with your partner, and your partner living among his or her family, is very difficult to cope, especially if your partner is abusive towards you, and especially that he's allegedly sexually abusing your 3-year-old daughter. Now, I've been in a abusive relationship. I was in that relationship for 6 years. I was far away from home, and I felt hopeless. I felt like I did not know anybody around me. The person I lived with, all his family live around him.
Yeah.
I sometimes reach out to them, but they like pretend as though they're on my side and trying to speak with me and speak to the gentleman. But when you turn around, they're on his side and making him feel as though what he's doing is right.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the last video that you showed, where she said, the young lady, she's saying that she loves him and she's going to meet him and so on. Being in an abusive relationship is very, very hard. And sometimes, even though you want to get out, sometimes there are things that are holding you back and tying you to that relationship. Example, if you have children. Another reason, you don't have a place to go. If you leave, where would you go?
Yes.
And there are organizations out there that you can reach out to. But when you reach out to these people, they drag their feet, and years pass, and then you're still there eating blows. You're going to the police, matters not getting to the court, and so forth. So in that relationship now, the fear takes over love. So it's no longer love, it's fear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only now that I'm out of the relationship, then I'm seeing that I did stop loving this guy for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not know, because I was scared to move out. I did not know if I move, where would I go? I was not working. So I can't say, okay, I'll just leave and go to rent a place.
Right.
But as soon as I got a job, then I started making little moves to move out. And then that's where everything turned. Now, there are a lot of people who are narcissists. They would beat on other people's children and then try to put the blame on them, turning and playing the blame game and setting fire and putting out stories out there so persons can look at them in a different light.
Right.
Which is not really the case. I don't know what this young lady was going through. I cannot say I know, but I understand because I've been through that.
Right.
And there were times when I had the thought I felt trapped, and I thought, well, the only way I can probably get out is if I break the law. But I think maybe I was just strong enough to just hold the fort and to keep praying and asking for a sign and asking for a way, and finally I was able to get out. Now, I don't know what amount of abuse and so on this young lady went through, and everybody's different. So some persons cannot take as much as what other persons can take.
Right. Right.
So I'm very sorry about the situation. I'm very sorry for both families.
Yeah.
Because losing someone, and then this young lady, who knows? I don't know what will happen.
Yeah,
and then the child.
And what would happen there? I mean, it's a whole the child, would have to be somehow, because we don't know what the law would do at this point in time. We don't know exactly how the case would go. They have information on both sides. So what would happen to the child is a good question. But caller, thank you so much for your input. We appreciate you so much. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome. Have a good evening, Junior.
All right, you too. Anyone want to comment on what the caller just said?
But Junior, the video did talk about threats. It does talk about the threats that he made. And there seem to be people who know this person, the young man or the adult, sufficient to suggest that the threats were enough to drive her to a point where she felt so desperate that she had to take this drastic action.
Yeah. I've seen stories, I've seen reports, I've seen all sorts of things that came to my inbox that paint the gentleman in a very bad negative light, who speak about his past, who spoke about the things that he's doing, and people know him for doing certain things that we cannot verify and we cannot confirm. But so we're not gonna dive deep into it. But one of the big things, and I want Michelle could come in and chime in about it. One of the surprising thing here is the gentleman was he died, but during the whole process of he being well buried and everything, there was no investigation into allegation of poisoning. And if this video never submerged, if this video never came out, everyone would have thought he died from whatever they had on the medical report that he died from. We're not saying that he died from the poisoning, but she is claiming that that's what she gave to him. And based on the reports that we saw, and I'm sure that you guys were privy to some of the information as well, the guy went from being somewhat a healthy guy to vomiting and defecating blood, which is might be a sign of something went wrong in a very quick space of time, which would lead investigators to point a finger. That's probably, possibly, it's some sort of, involuntary evasive, something that went in. Michelle, you care to chime in on these allegations?
Which well, maybe where there is no need to for suspicion, maybe it wasn't suspicious enough for them to conduct an autopsy or something like that. I can't really speak to that.
Right, right.
But Junior, generally, people with pre-existing medical condition, hypertension, diabetes, kidney failure, renal failure, COPD, even cancer, people who are in hospice situation, when they die, usually there is no autopsy unless the family requests an autopsy. However, in the case of young, vibrant people who die of mysterious causes, generally, and I'm not saying all the time, but generally, the pathologist will think it's necessary to perform one. Why one was not done in this case, if the gentleman was defecating blood, vomiting blood, is a mystery. But I would think that if he had family around and they were aware of some of these things that were happening to him, then they will probably request that an autopsy is done so that they could ascertain the real reason. Because Junior, mark my word, you know that once somebody dies, the medical professional has to put on the death certificate cause of death. So it would be rather interesting to see what is the cause of death that was on that certificate.
I'm gonna try to find that out.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I'm gonna try to find that out before the program ends. What was the cause of death? But here is another thing about premeditation, right?
Yeah.
It seems based on the content of what was in her phone that there was multiple takes to her to this video, right? This seemed to be the first take that she attempted to do. This check this out.
My name is Shane and Ambrose. I'm from Guyana. I pick up my boyfriend.
So that is somehow, Pancho, the first take of what she was trying to present, and I heard that there was another take of it as well. So she was kind of drafting the story, creating the narrative, creating the story. What jumps out at you?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see that before, but absolutely. And she's the one recording, Junior. She's absolutely the one recording. So what has happened? The videos were aired, probably through, it was leaked, but she is the one going forward there and recording. So she's rehearsing a story. So we may even, and I don't want to put words in the prosecutor's mind, but we may even ask, was she rehearsing so that she looks good? Is there evidence of abuse really? If I am an attorney, Junior, these are the questions. These are the really salient questions I'm going to be asking. Was it for another reason that she did what she did, and therefore now she's making up a reason for doing what she did, and so she has to make herself look good. Definitely. If somebody is so distraught, generally, Junior, we will see through the video all of the mistakes that they are making. You understand? Where they say wrong words, wrong sentence, grammar is really not important. There is not a take like in the movies, take three, take five, whatever what they say, but she was doing that rarely. So it tells us that in the premeditation, she was preparing her story.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is something that jumped out. But it still comes back to that very important point, the child in question.
Yes, Junior.
We
And I want
have,
us to talk about the child.
yes, let us talk
Yeah.
about the child. Michelle, chime in at any point in time because I know your passion for these things. I know your passion for sexual abuse. And, there's so many things, but I just chime in at any time that you feel you need to, all right? Dr. Pancho,
Junior,
go ahead. Go
oh,
ahead, Michelle. Go ahead, Doctor. No,
right. So
don't
my
go
thing
ahead.
is, right, in
Doctor,
looking at the whole thing, I
yes.
think, as I say earlier on, this is an opportunity to look at the systems that are at play. I mean, something like that could have been prevented, but when this happens, it sort of speaks to the lack of confidence that people have in our justice system, especially as it relates to these incidences of sexual abuse and domestic violence and situations of vulnerability. Now, we hear her saying over and over the fact that she didn't trust anyone. So maybe if we have better systems in place where people could feel comfortable to speak about these issues and be confident that it would be dealt with, then they would not resort to this type of allegedly jungle justice.
Yeah, because a lot of people saying, like Lydia James is saying, she did the damn right thing. She did the right thing. Every people are applauding her. Kudos to her. No apologies. Do it again.
And another thing too, as females, sometimes we think that the males we encounter, they could take us out of a situation, only to realize that we find ourselves in even more deeper situation. Now, this is somebody who was known to be, well, allegedly a sexual abuser, and yet for all, she saw it, she felt safe in a sense to have her child around that individual. So sometimes as females entering into relationship, we need to do more investigation as to the males that we're really committing ourselves and bringing our children or exposing them to the different situations. So that too is sort of important. But I guess it was just her instinct of protecting a child. And I'm not in a situation to cast judgment or to blame, because people deal with things differently. And that was just her way of dealing with it. And she had her reasons, as she stated in the video.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Pancho. Let's talk about the child.
All right. So I will talk about the child, and I also want to talk about the pedophile. So
Right.
yeah,
The-
I need to talk about the pedophile too. Junior, a child, any child that is sexually perpetrated on, any child that is abused, the abuse is a lifelong sentence of recovery, recuperation, and rehabilitation. A lifetime, Junior. Okay? So let's get that straight out here. Um, but this child is going to need a lot of help. If because what happens with sexual perpetration of against children is that children, Junior, they are supposed to be protected. They look at adults in their lives as kings and gods, and they love adults and they want to be protected. And so the level of betrayal that happens in the life of a child when he or she is sexually molested is irreparable. The child continues to live forever. That is one of the greatest disservice to building trust for other people, trust for parents, trust for adults, trust for everything. So I can imagine the amount of work that is going to have to happen to help this young child recover or to live a life, a semblance of a healthy life thereafter. Um, it is good that the mother said, and Junior, this evening I want us to do this thing. So let me say it now, because when I come to the pedophile, this is my preamble. All we are going on from yesterday to today is is hearsay. In other words, we don't have any conclusionary statements or facts to say that this young lady poisoned Clifford. All right, so we're going on the basis of a video that she posted. Okay,
That was posted.
right? Yeah. That. Sorry. Thank you for that correction. I want to be correct. That was posted. So that's what we're going on. The truth and the truism about what really happens will come out later on, hopefully. All right. But this child was able to articulate to her parents, to her mom, sorry, what it is that the stepfather did. She was able to say, he he showered with me naked today. Okay. And other things that she told, allegedly told the mother. That is what happens with children. They talk, and very often parents are dismissive of their children. I am to an extent happy that this mother believed in her child. We may say tonight that we were hoping, some of us are hoping, because there are others who are saying that Clifford got what he deserved, but there are many others who are saying that we hoped that she was able to use the system, to use more positive avenues to get the law involved and child protection authority involved and the judicial system involved, because Junior, the more we can involve the police and the law and the judicial system, is the most sensitized that Grenada becomes and the world becomes for the need to do more than we're doing now in the protection of the rights of children and vulnerable women and men. And I say this every time I come on your program, that I am yet to see a government and or a judicial system, or most of the Senate, who have enough gumption to really stand up, Junior, for our children. And I am really hurting and I'm fed up with the fact that every time we have situations, we get an outflow of anger and rage. And then when the dust settles, we go back to the same status quo behavior.
Yeah.
Nobody stands in parliament. Nobody stands and says, let's institute a new law or modify the existing ones so that we can protect children, that we can, it's really hurtful that
Yes.
we are in that situation.
Now, a lot of people, and I understand the anger. Trust me, I understand the anger that people are talking about. When they're talking about, yo, if this man is alleged to have been molesting a child over this period of time and then there's no justice for that child
Hmm.
and nothing is being done, they're freaking angry. I get angry too when I come on the program and we put people on the shit list, we put people on the hall of shame for doing stuff like that when we validate and verify that they did, right? So is this act that she allegedly perpetrated, is this a referendum on the system that doesn't exist? Most of that is to look at themselves and say, yeah, now we have a problem because people are taking these matters into their own hand. Is this a wake up call?
Well, well, Junior, quickly, let me add, yes, this could be a wake up call, because this could
Okay.
be a sensitization ploy that ends up to be a sensitization ploy, that people are saying, you know what, yeah, boy, people are fed up. It's like when things are boiling up and things are boiling up and we hearing talk and nothing is happening until there is an explosion. You know, it's some of these are the kinds of things that lead to new laws and new rules and regulations. So maybe this mother might be remembered later on as the law might be named after her. You never know. So it could be that this is the catalyst for the kind of change that we need to see in the judicial system and how we protect our women and our children.
Yeah. Doctor,
Another thing, yeah,
go ahead.
as it relates to the video, right? I think the same way that this video would be used as evidence in the court of law. I think it's time we start reviewing or revising the laws that are there as it relates to how criminal offenses against children are tried in the court. Maybe it's time where video evidence needs to be used in the court system, because what happens is that when a child becomes a victim of abuse and they have to keep repeating themselves, it kind of leads to more or repeated trauma. So maybe what we should be taking from this, just like how this video is being used for evidence, maybe it is the time also to start recording statements from victims so that they don't withdraw the statement. They don't say, okay, that wasn't true. They don't say, well, they don't feel intimidated by their abusers, because in most instances it's a matter of a power play. And when you go in court and you're facing your abuser, you feel intimidated, you feel shy, you doesn't want to speak, you doesn't want to present the evidence. So I hope that this case would change a lot of things that we are currently dealing with, especially as it relates to the deficit in our judicial system and the laws and protections that are there to protect children against abuse.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we open up the phone lines again, 718-701-5720. We want you guys to hit that phone line up, call in and voice your opinion. If you're frustrated, if you're angry, if you're upset, if you're in support or not support, call in right now. This is your opportunity to let your voices be heard on record. Dr. Pancho and Michelle, let me throw this narrative at you that's circulating as well, right? Now, there are a few people that have been submitted information that painted the young lady in not too much of a good light. I'll come back to that question. Let me take this call first. Caller, you live?
Hi,
Where you
good
calling us
morning.
from?
How are you?
Hey,
Hi, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Where you calling us from?
I'm calling from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I have two questions.
Go right ahead.
One, how is it that I am Grenadian and I'm very proud of it, but it always saddens me to the fact that we have lost home for clothing, we have lost home for weed, we have lost home for the way you have a conversation or express yourself. But when it comes to women, sexually abused kids, when it comes to predators, there are no system home by, okay, so you can come and abuse somebody in America or England and you go home and there's no system in place there. Okay, this is why you were deported. So in case something comes up, so your information is there and everybody knows. Why is that not in place? Home.
Yeah.
Why, when it comes to kids that are sexually molested, they're not properly trained officers or those social workers, that they have a very demeaning way where they deal with the folks. They don't have no empathy. They don't have no compassion. They don't have no sympathy. They act like it's what their fault. I have been a victim of sexual abuse, and I'm a grown woman, and I have a child, and it never goes away. We need to reinvent the way we handle those people, those kids, those women that go through that. They need proper training. We need to do better. We are failing our kids at home. When I mean failing them, we are failing them very badly. And I'm not condoning what the young lady did, but I'm saying at some point in time when you go through trauma, you snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about we have empathy for her? How about we reach out and help her? Find out what was her state of mind. Imagine she's in a country by herself. She has no family. She attached to him, and look what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever stopped to think about that?
Yeah. Well, that's why we analyzing it.
Let's just have some compassion. I'm not condoning what she did, but sometimes you have to stop and think, well, maybe if she had gone for help, she would have not got the help she needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But this is where I'm coming from.
thank you,
And
caller.
it's hurting.
We appreciate you. You appreciate your input as well. I guess a question that we could ask if we had a legal professional on there is what does the law say to something like that? Because you have a situation where someone make an allegation on video, but there's no way to confirm that the allegation is true because the guy is already buried. And he's buried and he has all these the whatever they put in you after you die and he's probably, well, I don't want to make it gross, but he is buried, right? how do they now investigate him? Do they exhume him and take out his hair follicles and investigate it? And how do they check to see if he was
Yeah.
actually poisoned? How do they prosecute this case?
But Junior, let me quickly add here. Yes, if you look at CSI and all the NCIS shows, they do show you that stuff, right? But because they have to fabricate stuff, it is possible. There are the forensics and the science of forensics have have evolved in a stage where the, years after, even after the body has been rotted and all that remains is the bones and the skull, they have ways of performing forensics to determine if are levels of toxicity for different kinds of things. So what is going to happen? The embalming fluid and whatever, if there were any other foreign things, the levels will show.
Now,
How they do that is very expensive. Grenada doesn't have the technology for that, so they will have to export that one and get help from other sources.
wow.
Um, uh, Junior, the last caller made a point, and Jan's posted something that was long, but I read it. Recently, Junior, I had to renew my driver's license, and I got a message from the police slash Ministry of Finance stating that come get my driver's license and make sure that my shoulders are covered. Okay. In other words, don't come with an armless. If I appeared in the Ministry of Finance with an armless, they will not allow me to go. You understand? Where are the laws? And John made a really great point. I mean, they are in government right now. There are about 9 females. Many of them have children. If there is a time, an opportunity, if there was an opportune moment for the women in government or in politics to stand up and let the Senate knows, come next Monday with a bill or with bills to modify the obsolete laws and bring new ways to protect and to educate. That would be a powerful statement, Junior,
Yes.
coming from these 9 intelligent ladies.
Yeah. Let's take a call here. We have another caller on the line. Caller, you're live. Where are you calling us from?
Hi, Junior. It's Dwight Sampson calling.
Hey.
I'm listening to the program, bro, and I am so happy to hear some of the points that I raised yesterday are being echoed by the both doctors on the call, and that more and more information is coming on hand as to this matter. And I think persons would see yesterday when he initiated this conversation that there's not much that we could have said based on what we had, because of course all that we had was just bare allegation,
Right.
and so on and so forth. But the point I really want to make, Junior, and I want to make this point very quickly. I want to reiterate a point I made yesterday. We seem to have a culture, a developer culture in Grenada, that when something of this nature happens, everybody has a voice. But when it comes to putting that voice, because Michelle is on the line, and I'm a friend of Michelle, and for years Michelle has been advocating for this very same thing. And I've heard people say, what do you think she is, and all of those kinds of statements, and not join with her in the fight to protect our children, to protect our women, our vulnerable women in society. One thing that we know for a fact about this situation is that this young lady was vulnerable. Vulnerable in the sense that she lived in a foreign land with no relatives. Vulnerable to the fact that this man is almost twice or 3 times her age. Vulnerable to the fact that she would have had to depend on this man for several things: for living, for food, for clothing, and the basic necessities of life. And as a result, we know, and I heard Michelle say that sometimes it's situations like that. You think if I report this man, then all that I have now, will I still have it? Not making excuses for her, because what she did, if she in fact did it, is inexcusable. At the same time, we don't know her state of mind. We don't know what would have pushed her. We don't know a lot of things at this time. And so I'm really, really happy to hear some of the statements that I was sentiments I shared yesterday are being echoed. And I really want to ask us Grenadians, let us just not use opportunities like these to have a voice, but let us use those voices to champion the causes. And as Janice said, we have 9 women, and that's in the lower house. What about the upper house? We have women there too, and they have some of the same rights as women in the lower house. And we need to get these women to raise these concerns in the parliament so that we can find answers. Junior, good night.
Thank you so much, my brother. Thank you so much for calling in, my brethren there from Montserrat. Big up to the folks there. Pancho?
Really, really powerful point, Junior. Junior, I know it's been an hour, but I want to get a sentiment out here tonight. I want to talk about the pedophile. Don't let
Let's
us
talk about
end
the
tonight
pedophile.
without me talking a little.
Let's talk. No, no, hold on. Before we go on to the pedophile, I was making a point earlier.
Yeah,
Go end on the pedophile case.
yeah.
That a lot of people and Selector Vibes, say he wants to join the live. You're free to call in. You could call on the WhatsApp. If you don't want to call on the direct line, you could call in because he has a lot of information, some of which he shared with me today, and I got a chance
Okay.
to listen to it. But and the other side of it is that information that is reaching is painting the person, the young lady, in a bad light, right?
Okay. All
And
right.
that doesn't make it good that she's being abused. But there are certain information that people who know her back in Guyana don't really see her as an upscale, upstanding citizen. Let's put it like that. Is she not the right messenger? Is the message being muffled because she is probably not the right messenger for the message?
That's a very interesting question, Junior. That's a very interesting question. Um, you know, and for those of us or people who are Christian, we always use this text. Remove the beam from your eyes before you remove the mote that is in your brother's eyes.
Yeah.
And it could be, Junior, but let me say this here: a message is always a message. Truth, Junior, does not truth has the ability to stand on its own. It doesn't need any buffer. It need any waxing, cleaning, and or refurbishing. Truth has a way of standing on its own. And if this woman is speaking truth, as we know truth to be, and it can be proven, um, then people like Lydia James and others may feel vilified or justified that she took this action. Um, and so, in spite of Junior, the challenges of the mother, if there was a truth that Clifford Marshall is sexually abused her child, he's a pedophile, then he has to, but he can no longer because he is dead. But the message is loud and clear from the mother. And I don't care what people say about the mother. If it is truth, then it remains truth.
Right, right, right. Michelle, is it harder for because there are people who are painting this young lady. There are people who said that yeah, she's a hero. To a lot of people, she's a queen. She did exactly what needed to be done, and they're very firm on that. Michelle, is it hard to get the message out when you have what some people try to, or some people have a tainted reputation in a kind of way?
Well, some people cannot relate to things that they don't understand. And unless you're in a situation, you will not understand it. And we need to understand that the society we live in too, it's made up of different personality. While there may be some that may want to justify what was done to her was the right thing to do, but at the end of the day, again, nobody was in her situation. Nobody know what was in her head. Nobody know what she was dealing with. And in explaining herself, and I will keep going back to the video where she explained herself, you could have seen that there was a lot she was dealing with, being away from home, not having anybody to talk to. And again, I'm not justifying what was done, because a crime is a crime. But then when you don't have proper systems in place, that's what you will have happening. It means that people just don't trust the system. So it is left to take the law into your own hand. Not that it is right, but that is what it is at the moment.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Pancho, let's talk about the pedophile.
All
The
right, all right. It's not, I'm smiling not because it is my favorite subject, but it is one of those. I don't want us, for the people who remember, I preempted, well, not I preempt, I made a summary introduction that says what we're going off of now, it's really hearsay. We're going off of a video that is posted of an alleged poison. We have a dead man, a dead person, and we don't know how he died. So all of that we have to wait for the truth to come out through investigations and forensics.
Dr. Pancho, let me just answer that question right there. I asked for what was the information on the death
All
certificate.
right, let's get it.
It
Yes.
says that it was basically dilated heart failure, lung and kidney.
Wow, wow.
That's
So
what
so
was on the death certificate.
right, and Junior, I am not a medical professional, but I have studied a little just to know that yes, poisoning in the system can lead to the failure of those vital organs. Remember, kidney failure. The kidney is the organ that purifies the body from all of the toxins that it receives. So the liver and the kidney, and so if those were the organs that were failed, it could mean that he ingested and or had in his system toxins sufficient to shut them down. All right.
Okay.
All right. The life of the pedophile, Junior. It's a horrible way. The young lady said in her video that she witnessed that every time he lifted this child, he got an erection. Okay. Now, I always say, and I'm going to say it again a thousand times on your program, any man who can get an erection by viewing, playing with, lifting, looking at pictures of, or direct children, who can get an erection of a child is a monster. Something is wrong with his brain, whether it is through a trauma induced maladaptive perception or cognitive impairment, or or just wicked or demon possession, Junior, whatever it is. If you get an erection when you're playing with or interacting with or looking at children, then something is physiological and mentally wrong with you. And this young man, I have to go with what is alleged through video, through other stuff, or alleged again, to have made this a part of his life. Okay? And so this is, I don't even want to say this is not a one-time thing. It is alleged that he has done it before and that he was deported to Grenada for similar reason or the same reason. So the life of a pedophile is to prey on children wherever they can find them. And what pedophiles do, Junior, this is exciting for us to understand. What pedophiles do is that they prey on the vulnerable. So this 54-year-old man saw a 19-year-old with a 3-year-old child, a foreigner, and he immediately, the pedophile that is, immediately saw her as prey, as an easy victim. That's what pedophile. They're sexual perpetrators. They prey, they stalk, they maneuver, they coerce, they look for vulnerable people because a strong woman with education and skill set that can make her less vulnerable. People who are pedophiles, they will not go after, generally they will not go after people like that. They look for the weak link, the vulnerable. They are prey, Junior, prey. And we have a lot of sexual predators in the system. and somebody says it, so I am going to quote that person because I don't want it to be said that I said it. Part of the struggle of the judicial system is the rule of males, and nobody wants to make a law against themselves, Junior.
Yeah.
Come for me.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
are known predators around, even in very responsible position, who their heads are now in the sand because it demands for them to look out for people like themselves.
Like themselves. Yeah.
You
Hold that point
understand?
right. Hold that point. We had a call on the line that I've been waiting for a little while. Caller, you live. Sorry for keeping you waiting for so long. Go right ahead.
Okay, good evening. I am saying that I've been listening to the program a while, and I think that I need to voice, as a woman, voice my opinion on that issue.
Yes.
I'm in two scenarios. I remember there was this young lady, right, I met for a while, and she came from a foreign country, so she was living with this man, a police, and he was abusing her. But in her case, she was a teacher and she was able to get out and rent and stuff like that. The next scenario I want to talk about is recently when pastor came from overseas and he molested this little boy. And I think the case was that they paid him more than $1,000 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying yes, it's easy to say that our justice go to the justice system. And even I'm around young children, but even children, when children are abused, they don't take children word for it. Children at that age, they say they need evidence and they need, some physical evidence because they usually have that children change their word. And they don't, in the court system, they usually take children word for it.
Right.
Alright? So I'm putting myself in that situation. I mean, we all been through different things. I'm putting myself in this young girl situation. Let's say I'm unemployed, I come to a foreign country, and I'm meeting this young man, and I have no way of escape. And I know I love my child so much. It's easy to say, you could plan, they say women plan, yes, you plan certain things. But after it happens, you're so frustrated, the part where they say she was saying she loved the man and everything. You get so frustrated and you get so fighted, it doesn't matter about your plan. You start saying all those different things.
Mm-hmm.
But I come to the point where I'm saying that our system, our legal system, is not doing us justice. If, for example, you go say, yes, go to the law, right? But when they speak to the child may be speaking all over the place.
Right.
There's nothing makes much of the case. I'm not saying I'm condoning murder, but I'm saying I understand the frustration, where the woman is coming from, where the young lady is coming from, her frustration, but to lead her to such mental state where she could even murder somebody for her child, because I have one, and I'm saying, I don't know if you're in that situation, what, you don't have no way of escape. That's the person who provides your bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
You're in a strange country, you don't know who to speak to, and sometimes that may seem like the only way of escape for you.
Yeah.
And your mind, and especially when you're stressed, and you're lying on your bed at night, and the only thing you're thinking about is, I cannot protect my child. I need, if I leave, how else would I provide for my child? So I'm saying that I'm putting myself in that young lady position, and if the man did what he's alleged to say that frustration, you could snap in our brain so think that it would snap so quickly.
Right.
You understand? After you regret that you did it, but at the point in time, I understand. I empathize with her, and I understand that men should be protecting women and young children looking to abuse and prey on people.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate it. As they say, who feels it knows it. Some people are speaking and they haven't experienced it. I want to just touch on a quick point here that was posted. I was watching a statement here by Jennifer Myers for a while, and it had to do with the statement that we had made earlier with people talking about the messenger. And Jennifer is saying a very valid point. Who cares about the messenger? Who the messenger is? It's the message. We're focusing on the wrong issue.
Mm-hmm.
Are we focusing on the wrong issue? Are we really just? Are we really? We're really forgetting about who is, or what is the main valid issue in this particular case? Are we straying a bit?
No, well, Junior, no, I don't think we are. I think we have to we have to understand that right now there is a lot of speculation going around. Okay, we're not dealing with the facts yet, because we don't have all of it.
Right.
If we want to believe either of the video or either of the history of either of the person, it's up to us to believe what we want to believe at this time. But the truth of the matter will come out, Junior. It will come out. Okay.
Yeah.
But I agree, and I look at the chat, and there are many who are saying our hearts need to go out to the child and to the mother. Okay, and I don't know. I think not. I think I see some are also looking at Marshall and his family. This is the loss of a young man. 54, 55 years old. You have a lot of life still in you. Okay, so it has to be, and he has adult children. Yeah, he has other children. I don't know the ages. So we zero in. We come back home where the important thing will be now: how do we rehabilitate or make it safe, make the world, Junior, a safer place
Same
for
place.
this
Yeah.
for this girl. Okay, a few people have talked about Junior, and I need to raise it again. A few people have talked about what happened to the young child last year in Grenville, okay, St. Andrews, okay, the perpetrator who forced the little boy to perform oral sex, fellatio, on him was charged $1,600. Okay, but watch this. This is not, and this is not what I'm talking about. Really, I want to show you the law, Junior. Okay, I want to show our listeners and whoever, whether it's the police, the judicial, the parliamentarians, anybody with a fake profile who is listening. Okay, $1,600 he paid. He got on a plane. A couple of days later, we were told by the police that a negotiation was being made for him to fly back. Remember that, Junior?
I remember that. I remember
Ah,
that.
Junior, that's a year ago, Junior.
Yeah, we haven't heard
We
anything
haven't
about.
heard. But watch this again. Watch this. My memory is as clear as crystal because I was in court that day. Watch this again. The $1,600. I recently asked someone, whatever became of the $600 that was allocated for therapy for the child? Has that child received therapy? The answer is no, Junior. So
Wow.
nobody in social service, child protection, nobody has followed this little boy to give him. And I am sure, Junior, tonight, if you were to ask any one of them who were
Yeah.
involved in the case and being in court, where is that little boy today? Where does he live? Does he have food tonight? Nobody knows.
Nobody
And this
knows.
is a bother for me, Junior. It's
Yeah.
an irritation. It's hurtful. And these are the things that I'm saying that our parliamentarians need to wake up and put structures in place. This little child must never fall through the cracks. He must never be forgotten. He must, unlike the one in Samaritan, remember that one, Junior?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Eighteen hundred dollars, Junior.
Yeah.
I got them on the tip of my tongue because I am so irate at this time. Where are they? Are they receiving therapeutic and or counseling services? Are we looking out to make sure that they have shoes on their feet? How are they doing in school, Junior? We don't know, and that's the bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen. This obviously is a problem in our society, and we're talking about it, and I hate that we're being so reactive, because it seems like every time we're talking about it after the fact of something happened, and it seems that there are no proactive measures, because the people who are supposed to be proactive in making those measures, they are not doing they're not making those things happen. And it's shameful that you could thief a coconut and get so much time in jail, but if you molest a child, you get in $1,200 bail. That is that is just don't sound right, right? And it giving invitation to people to mistreat our children. and that needs to change. That needs to change, and it needs to change right now. But we over time, we 23 minutes over time. I know we're gonna have a discussion again, guys, and we need to have more of this discussion. I like when we talk, and I think talk about this situation, because it's helping a lot of people that's watching, and it's building strength. I get a lot of calls from people who say, okay, they want to share their story because this happened to them and they didn't want to talk before, but they want to talk now. So we're happy that we did that. But Michelle, I want you to I mean, you've been through a lot, and you understand this probably better than any one of us here. Are we saying the right things? Are we focusing on the right things? Are we missing the point? Guide us through where the focus should be if we're losing focus a bit.
I mean, there is a lot going through my mind because the whole thing is indeed heavy. But if we look at it, we would see that there is somewhat a cycle of abuse. And being a mother, and I'm speaking from the perspective of a mother, knowing that, let's say, for instance, I was sexually abused and my child is being sexually abused and I cannot do anything about it. I think it would make anybody feel helpless and, to a sense, hopeless. And when we are frustrated or we are in some deep sense of fear, everybody does not have the same reaction. Everybody would not react the same, especially when people don't have support systems. Look, for example, I'm in foreign here. What if she had maybe tried to report it and tried to seek help? Society, again, as much as we blame the justice system and we blame individuals, we also have to be mindful of the society that we live in, the society that is so judgmental. And when we speak of these issues or we try to bring these issues to the fore, as victims or as persons that are associated with the victims, they are the ones that are oftentimes being judged. So as much as we need to change our laws, as much as we need to change our systems, we need to also change our perceptions and the way that we deal with things and the way that we handle this sensitive issues. And again, the takeaway here should be how we help that mother because she still have life, and how we help that child. How will we get her to a place? Because here she's grieving one, and then she is also maybe blaming herself for not being able to protect her child the way that she should, or protect her child from what had happened to her to prevent it from happening to that child. So there is so much things here at play. And one of the things we do in Grenada and most of the Caribbean, we tend to push our social issues aside, and we focus more on the economics, the things that would build the country in terms of money, tourism, and all this kind of thing. But if we are not dedicating the resources that we have to our people and more so to our children, then it speaks to the future that we would have, a future of brokenness, a future of pain, a future where our children are hurt, that they're not making proper decisions, where they would be continuing this cycle of abuse because they feel so, they don't have the self-esteem or the self-confidence that they should have. Because what we do, again, as to go back to Dr. Panchoo's point, there is a lack of counseling and psychosocial opportunities to help victims of sexual crime. So they deal with it the way they think they could deal with it. And what you find happening, there is not enough time or enough healing where they get to a place that they could really, well, it's not something you could get over, but where you could get to a place that you could really cope with it rationally. And in the
Right.
future, although it could happen as a child, in the future you have them making the same decision. So they would choose partners that are abusive, partners that are controlling. So there is a lot, and this is deep, and I believe that we all as a society, but whether you're a parent, a teacher, a community member, whatever you are, we all have a part to play in fighting against these issues. We should not be always reactive. We should have systems in place. Ariel Bola should have been one of our greatest lesson. we should have had maybe a safe house where we could, because children don't just need to be in an environment where they have food, clothing, or shelter. We need to dig deep to the roots because I mean I may not have enough words to explain what abuse does to the individual, and not just the individual, but also the social relationships, how they interact with others, how they go about making intimate decisions in their future lives. So, I don't know. I think we really, really, really have a lot to do, and we should use this situation as an eye opener into dealing with the social issues that we face
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
as
You know, every time, this is becoming like a chorus. Every time there is we have a situation, we're using this situation. I would like that we don't have this
yeah.
discussion at all. It's just sickening that we always have to come. And Dr. Pancho probably get every time Dr. Pancho see me call him, oh Lord, Junior again, not another one, Junior.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but he takes a call anyway. Dr. Panson, let's wrap this thing up here. Let's put it
Yeah.
all into perspective and a conclusion. What's your conclusion about what has transpired here and what could possibly prevent someone from perpetrating some kind of crime like this on both sides? Because we're hearing about allegations on both sides. Talk to us from your professional perspective.
Junior, what we have here before us is a very tragic state of events. A woman allegedly participating in the demise of a lover. A 5-year-old scarred for life, allegedly sexually perpetrated by her stepfather. A mother in distraught having to grieve for the loss of a loved one and for the demise of a child. This is not an easy thing, Junior.
Yeah.
You know, everywhere you look at it, every corner, every angle you try to make sense of it, it's nonsensical, but it is hurtful and it's real. You ask, what can we do to prevent something like that? Junior, I have an answer. You won't like it, and the listeners won't like it.
Yes, please.
We live in a very wicked world, Junior, and pedophiles exist everywhere. Criminals exist everywhere, even in high places. As a result, the advocacy that we're doing through this program and other programs and the laws that will be enacted to protect children and other vulnerable people in the population, even though we do the strictest laws and the harshest penalties, we are going to have people perpetrating because sin and because of wickedness. And as a result, Junior, programs like ours that we're doing now will have to be in perpetuity. We just have to keep on doing it. We have to keep on sensitizing. We got to keep on protecting. There is not a day in our lives where we will have to lift ourselves up and say we have done it. We continue to thrive. We continue to protest. We continue to protect until we die.
Wow.
That's the conclusion that I have. And
That
that's it.
that is
Yeah.
a task,
Yeah.
Pancho. I wanna retire soon.
No, not us. Junior, we going in our 90s, 100. That's what we do. That's what we do. And we're going to keep on doing it.
We're gonna keep on doing it. Dr.
Yeah.
Pancho, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Dr. Mitchell,
Just
Dr.
one more
Pancho.
point there, Junior. One more
Yes, go
point.
ahead. Yes.
Another thing again, right? I know there was discussions to have uh, a sexual the
Registry.
registrar,
Yes. Yes.
right? And there were a lot of debate as to why we shouldn't have it. But I think it is important that we do, because if we look at the systems that we have in the Caribbean, when someone is sentenced and they're maybe sent to jail, or let me just track back a little. Before they even sent to jail, sexual abuse is still a bailable offense. What we have taking place in Grenada, if somebody commit the act in St. John, and they get bail, they are sent to St. Andrew, which leave the children in St. Andrew exposed and vulnerable, right? Because we don't know who these individuals are. When they go into, well, when they are sentenced and they're sent to jail, there is nothing like any therapy that is given to them. So they come back out and they come back with the same attitude, they come back with the same behavior pattern, and it's likely that they would commit these acts again. So I think now is the time where that register is very, very important, because here we have to look, the bigger picture here should be our children and the protection, the future. That is what I think we really need to narrow in and focus our attention on.
Yeah, yeah. That's a very strong and valid point there, Michelle. And you have so much information. I hope that when they move quickly with the sex registry, and when they do decide to put it together, that they get advice from people like yourself and others who is on the ground and been on the ground for many, many years advocating. Thank you, Dr. Pancho and Dr. Alexander. We'll keep in touch with you guys, I'm sure, very soon, hopefully on better occasions and talking about something and having some fun, hopefully. Dr. Alexander, we catch up later. Yeah, guys, right along. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for being a part. Thanks for calling. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for liking. Whatever you did. Thanks for commenting. And hopefully we want this message to get out there to other people who probably didn't see this program initially. So you still could share, you still could like and put it in a page. Put it in somebody's inbox. The idea is to get this into the powers that be so they could change the laws. They could have amendments. They could change things. They could do things to protect our children. We're going to be here singing and chanting about this forever and ever and ever. I might even delay my vacations, and everything that I plan to stop doing. I might just forget about it and stay and do what I have to do here, because it's important. And if we don't do it, then who else would do it? We can't say let this person do it. Nobody else is going to do it. We have to make sure that we keep the word out and keep protecting our children. Again, guys, if you have a story to tell, we welcome and invite everyone to share their story. And in this particular story, we do understand that there are many sides of this. There are many conversations to be had. There are people that in support. There are people who are not in support. We are right in the middle because we just want the facts. And we believe that the truth lays somewhere in the middle, right? Between his story and her story, between this one and that one, the truth is somewhere in the middle. So we're right in the middle. We want to get the truth, right? We want to get the truth into this whole case right here. So everybody that has been sending information and been sending context and content to us, we appreciate it. Continue to send content and context to us so we could put all of this together, ingest all this information so that we could analyze it and put out and talk to the public and even get it into the investigators who are investigating this. I don't know what's the progress or the status of the investigation at the moment, but who knows what's going to happen. But we're going to continue to update you on this particular investigation. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget that we want you guys to go right now, everybody, this is what I want all you to do. Don't stick, because soon we're going to move all of our programming over to YouTube, right? YouTube, that's where we're going to be, on YouTube. We're on YouTube now, by the way. So I want my moderators to put that link at the bottom of the page, and I want everybody to click on that link before you leave and subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. All of our programming will soon move exclusively over to YouTube. So keep in connection, keep in contact with us. Subscribe to us on YouTube and check out our programming over there with YouTube. Of course, you could put it up on your TV. You could do a whole lot of fun stuff. Our programming is moving to YouTube. So subscribe to us on YouTube. Selector Vibe, thank you for the information. I got all your voice notes. I got all the stuff. I'm still ingesting it. I couldn't play it because I don't know all the context of it. So I didn't want to play it back live on air because I didn't get a chance to go through all the content that you sent to me. But everyone keep sending that link right there that is posted. This link, yes, I want you guys to click that link and subscribe to us on YouTube. See that link right there is pinned. Subscribe to us on YouTube. All of our content, all of our games, all of our programming will be over on YouTube. Selector Vibes, Esther, our producer, hardest working producer, Lois JJ, thank you so much. Our hardest working moderators, we have Gail, we have Deanne Fraser, and who else? Kibbs, we see you as well. Thank you guys, you're doing such a great job. And our sponsors, and you, if you want to support this program and ensure that we continue to talk about things that is very relevant and very important to our community, you need to support us, right? Because this is how we're able to continue to do this. So when people call us and they need help, that's how we support people, right? That's how we're able to break stories, because we're independently funded. We're funded by you and the donation that we get from the people who have business, and they like what we're doing and they want us to continue. It also enables us to put gas in the car, because the engine have to stay on, right? Because I got to be in the AC. I can't be sweating on the program, right? So the engine have to stay on, gas have to go in the car. Thank you so much for your support, anticipating a great show of support going forward. Again, so YouTube, support, keep supporting, share your stories, inbox us with anything that you have, and continue to be a part of the ride. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget, also next weekend we're going to be in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So all my friends in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we're going to be there. Looking forward to meet up with all my friends in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Then we're going to be in Grenada. Then we're going to be in Barbados for a little while. We're doing this island tour starting next week. We're going to do multiple programs from these areas. We're teaming up with organizations to help fund and help support in donation from St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the people who have been affected by the volcanic eruption, the hurricane, all the things that's happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Look out for us and help to support that. Good night, everybody. Catch you guys later. I'm gone. Bye-bye.
You are tougher than still on this battlefield. You are tougher than still. Yo, just show me. No weakness, show me a lion power. Strength, no weakness, show them who we are. Strength, no weakness, show me a lion power. Everybody strength, no weakness, show them who we are. And when you're wrong, your enemies they must.
Feeling hungry, grab a snack. Caribbean food delight. Jamaican patties, light and flaky. Caribbean food delight. Taste the difference. Caribbean food delight. Grab a patty, take a bite. Caribbean food delight. Quick and easy, grab a patty, take a bite. Caribbean food delight.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to TD Bank, where you'll find the personalized attention you deserve and the legendary experience you expect. Let's do business. If you are a medical or dental practitioner, contact me to hear about our tailored lending solutions for residential mortgages, equipment purchases, practice-related commercial mortgages and refinance. Visit me at 500 Baychester Avenue to hear more about our full range of personal and small business banking solutions. See you soon.
Williams Funeral Service serve you with dignity and compassion as you mourn. Every day, we embark on the journey of life, and one day, the journey will end. It's on that day that you can entrust the celebration of life of your loved ones to David Williams Funeral Service. Call 718-291-3823.
Walls are bound to crumble, and to the floor their spears will fall. I've been made and sealed with love, but time to battle, I'll fight them all. I felt the whips and remember chains, but my sword has been forged by my father's flames. Fight your fears and heal your pain, and victory will be in your name.
I used to be weak, but I'm not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened, I'm not afraid no more. The Father blessed me with the heart of a lion and a
warrior soul. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail, and no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer, conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer, conquer them. Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of years. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my blade. Fire burn all Satan carrier, Father loose all shackles and chain. This morning first thing as I wake up, King David turns Sam to the brain.